I'm not sure what happened to KZ. Did they change their whole tuning department? Or they change simply their tuning target? Because this is the first time I hear KZ that is so different than its predecessors, and I will explain to you why. So hello and welcome to Aftersound Review, and this is my review for KZ DeFi, the Switch version, and it costs around $33. And thank you for KZ for providing me with this review unit. And just like usual, I will tell you what this switches do and the frequency response, and I will break down this review from the build, frequency response, sound, and comparison, and what makes this IM really special to me. It has solid build quality. All of it is made of metal, and you can definitely hear they all feel sturdy, all made of metal. And again, here's the switch here. And you get also QDC Type-C connectors, and the cable itself, yes, it's just like the usual KZ, not really special. But the thing that I don't really like about this KZ DeFi is also the same thing I find with the Joyo Dio Shine. Well, the switch is actually inverted. You can see on this right side, the 1, 2, 3, 4 is on the upper side. So when I need to turn them on, I need to switch them down. While on the left side, you can see the letter here 1, 2, 3, 4 is on the lower side. And if I want to turn the switch on, I need to turn them up. So on the right hand side, when I need to turn them on, I need to switch down. While on the left side, when I want to turn them on, I need to switch them up. It's just kind of confusing for some people, maybe. Regarding the ergonomics of this IM, I need to tell you about this. Well, the thing is, this IM is quite chunky in size, and also the nozzle part is a bit long than usual IMs. And then you get this foam attached to this IM at the beginning when you open them. But the thing is, I know that not everyone could use foam tips, including me. The foam tips that is attached to them is really large for my small ears, so it's not really comfortable for me. The thing is, they also give you silicone tips, but the silicone tips they give you is not really good quality. You could see how short they are, and it gives another problem. Let me show you this. See, like this, it's really close to the nozzle, to the filter. And take a look at this. It's so short, and using their stock ear tips, their stock silicone ear tips, I couldn't really get a proper fit. So if you want to use silicone tips, I suggest you to try maybe, my favorite ear tips, the Vinyl Type E. It just fits them nicely with much longer space for the nozzle. So, but the thing is, it does alter the sound a bit different. Let me show you later in the sound. But nevertheless, using their stock ear tips, none of them are really good for my ears. The foam tips are too thick, and the silicone tips are too short. So, but when I'm using this Vinyl Type E, I really feel no problem at all when using them. Even though they are still a bit chunky, but I can wear them for hours without any complaint. Well, before going deeper into the sound, let me show you the difference when using foam tips and also the silicone ear tips. It is shown that the Vinyl Type E here that I use, it does gives more peaks in treble area around 8K, and it does feels like that. So even though I get better fit, I give a little bit more treble emphasize around 8K. But the thing is that 8K frequency response is not as bad as you might think. It just gives a little bit of sizzle there. It's not really sibilant or anything like that. It just gives you a little bit of sizzle there. So I can still bear with it. But in turns, I do get also better bass texture when I'm using the silicone tips. So yeah, you get better, more linear treble actually from the foam tips, but you do get better bass texture with this silicone tips, but with the price of that more treble sizzle there. Now the thing that is amazing for me, this KZ DeFi, is defying its own company target, maybe. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at the usual KZ frequency response here. It's all V-shaped with emphasis on the bass and then upper mid to treble area. All sounds and all looks uneven in frequency response and also very V-shaped. But this KZ Defy is somehow giving you a neutral frequency response. And at $33 price point, for me, that's like a miracle because it's a good neutrally tuned IM. Well, and then after that, I want to show you too about the switch. Well, the thing is, the switch here is kind of gimmicky. Because the change, even though they have 4 switches, the change that happens when you turn them on off is just around the bass area. So it doesn't change the middle frequency or the higher frequency. It only changes around the bass area, and the change is really minimum. It's really minor, so it only adds around 1 or 2 decibel here. And the funny thing is, here's the thing. When you just think as this, when you turn the switch number 1 on, you get 1 decibel of bass boost. When you turn the number 2 switch, you get 2 decibel bass boost. But when you turn them on both, you get only 2 decibel. So you don't really get 3 decibel, but you only get the 2 decibel. So when you turn switch number 1 and 2 at the same time, or only turning on the switch number 2, regardless, the sound is the same. So you get what I mean. Even though you get 4 switches, you cannot stack the effect. The effect is only, yeah, even you turn 1, 2, 3 and only turn the 3, the sound's still the same. That's the funny thing about it. So you cannot stack the effect from the switch, but the switch number 4 is the only different here. The difference is lots of maybe regardless of the tuning, you only get 8 different tunings instead of 16 different tunings, even though they have 4 switches. Well, when you turn the switch number 4, turn them on while the other switch turned down, it acting like a, I don't know, somehow impedance adapter. Well, let me show the frequency response here, raw frequency response. The middle frequency to the upper frequency gets higher in decibel, so you get volume boost, but the bass gets more linear. So the vocal and treble does sound more forward when you turn the switch number 4 on. But if you stack the difference, actually the tuning is just the same, but yeah, it's just getting louder in the middle and higher frequency, while the bass is getting more neutral in that way. So it's kind of confusing. Actually, for me, it's just my opinions here. It is better to maybe just give 1 switch. 1 is neutral, 1 with 3 decibel bass boost, maybe just like that will be much easier rather than giving you 4 switches like this. But the difference is minor and it's kind of confusing here and there. Well, it's just my 2 cents. So simply said here, if you want the most neutral tuning out from them, just turn all of them off, only turn on the switch number 4. And if you want the most bass, turn only switch number 3. Now let's get to the sound. Around the bass area, well, regardless of the bass level, whether you want to switch them on or off, for me this is not a bass for bass head. It's a really well controlled bass that could go deep, but it's really linear, and it's just the bass punch is maybe not like, it's not really punching you, it's just like, it's there. You can hear that it's there. You can feel that there's tuk, tuk, tuk in the bass area. So it's not lost in the whole frequency, but it never goes too forward. Well, the texture is also quite good, the speed is also quite good. It's just not punchy enough, or maybe if you like EDMs and any songs that needs a lot of bass boost. But in terms of control and bass texture, I do actually kind of like it. Well, the mid-range is where also the magic things happen. The thing is, you get a really neutral kind of bass, but with nice texture in it. And the mid-range is really smooth. It's also ultimately balanced. I think at this $33 price point and below, this is the most neutral mid-range that I've ever tried, and it's a good neutral. So when I'm hearing regardless male or female vocal, or really any kind of vocal or any kind of piano and guitar that plays around mid-range area, all sounds natural, clear, well controlled, and free of sibilance. It's just amazingly tuned neutral mid-range area. Now treble part is also one thing that I actually quite like, because it's actually quite linear. The extension is quite linear, it's not uneven or anything like that. So in turns you do get nice treble frequency up there, but again, it is overall a neutral tuned IM, so the treble itself is not really jumped at you. It's not a treble focused IM. You do get some sizzle, like I said, using the silicone ear tips, but still it's somehow neutral tuned treble. So when I'm hearing violins or cymbals, it's just nicely splashy up there. It's just, you got just enough sparkle and just really good control without sounding overly sibilant or overly metallic. Simply said, regarding the tuning, I love them so much, because at this price point, even at $100 price point and above, it is rare to find a good neutrally tuned IM with good timbre and somehow natural feelings to it. I know it's not really bright, or it's not really bassy, it's not really vibrant in your ears, but every kind of sound I play through them sounds correct. The bass is there without being overpowering, the mid-range is there, it's clear, it's neutral, it's natural, and it's never overpowering anything. And also the treble is also nicely extended without overly overpowering anything. Again, I love this kind of tuning, but I definitely understand that also this kind of tuning could be really boring, because it's the none of the frequency really jumps at you. None of the frequency really sounds engaging. It doesn't have that bite for rock music. It doesn't have that bass punchiness for EDMs. And so I hope you understand this. This kind of tuning giving you, maybe I think at $30 price point, it is the most balanced tuning of any other IM that I've ever tried, especially when you turn the switch number 4 on. But in the other side, it also doesn't sound exciting. It doesn't make you wanna dance. It doesn't make you wanna tapping your toe. It's just really good and balanced in tuning. Now also because of how goodly neutral they are, they also have good technicals. Maybe, I know, the soundstage for neutral IMs doesn't usually extend, especially on the depth area, and it also happens in this IM too. The dimension of the soundstage is mostly two-dimensional, it's only left and right. It doesn't really have that three-dimensional presentation, but the clarity, details, and also resolution coming from this IM is actually top-notch. For $30, I do think that this is one of the best that I've ever tried. Well, comparing them directly with the Kiwi Cadenza, another amazing IM at $30 price point, for me the Kiwi Cadenza is simply tuned more mainstream, I guess. It has more mid-bass, so the bass punch is somehow thicker and more in quantity. Also the upper mid-range is simply more pronounced there, so it's somehow more V-shaped a bit compared to the more neutral KZ DeFi. And somehow the treble area is, I don't know, I perceive it somehow more smoother and more rolled off compared to the KZ DeFi. Simply said, it is more fun, it is also more engaging for some music, but in terms of overall balance, I do simply say that even whether you want to turn the switch on or off for the bass area for the KZ DeFi is simply more balanced. And one thing that I do personally say that I like about this KZ DeFi is the clarity and resolution is simply better. It's not far better, but it is simply better when you compare them directly. The emotion from the vocal, also the clarity, every word that's being said by the musician, by the vocalist, it is simply more clearer here. And when you hear piano and guitar, the note definition is just better pronounced in this KZ DeFi. So simply said, I definitely prefer the KZ DeFi. Compared to the Thin C2. The Thin C2 is somehow more V-shaped too. It has more mid bass, so the bass is a little bit thicker, and after that the treble extension is more elevated. It is more elevated in that upper mid-range to upper treble area, so making cymbals and some sparkle up there more pronounced compared to the KZ-Defi. But in terms of overall, again, in terms of balancing things, even the Thin C2 is maybe more engaging and overall more impactful, but the KZ-Defi is simply more balanced. It's more neutral, and somehow again the clarity of the mid-range section is simply better on the KZ-Defi. Every vocal, piano, guitar, notes definition, and every words, it's just simply clearer on this KZ-Defi. So simply said, yeah, KZ-Defi for $33 price point is my new champion for the price. Okay, simply said, this KZ-Defi is my favorite $30 price point right now. It's simply my favorite. Even under $100, if you want something that is tuned neutrally, it's over ear and it still has a good timbre on it, I think there's nothing like this KZ-Defi. And for me it is shocking because definitely it doesn't, usually this thing doesn't come from brand like KZ that usually makes V-shaped sounding IMs. But yeah, this is the best KZ tuning. It's the most balanced, it is the most neutral, and you do get some flexibility with that bass control with the switch. But if you ask me, my preferred tuning is maybe only turn on the switch number 4 or number 3. Somehow the switch number 4, it's making mid-range and treble clarity a little bit better compared when you turn them down. And yeah, it's just amazing product from KZ. It's shocking for me, KZ making something that is not V-shaped but sounds beautifully good. And this is my final score for its tonal and its technical. I'm just surprised that product from KZ could be this good right now. And I hope you enjoyed this review, and thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.